So to finalize, we're going to talk about moving to Puerto Rico, establishing yourself in Puerto Rico, and it's a more lighter, non-tax related. So we're going to talk about some real estate, some trust, and the mortgage and process here in Puerto Rico. So I would like to invite the three panelists. First is Francisco Diaz Fournier, or Paco as we know him. He's a professional with a big picture focus that develops and executes strategies in a constantly changing and highly competitive real estate market. So I'll lead him over so we can start. Michel Feliciano, good friend of mine, colleague, ex-colleague, as well as UBS, expert in trust estates, head of the personal corporate trust division at UBS. And finally, Victor Dominguez from First Bank, in this case from the First Mortgage side. And we have a presentation, so
super.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good afternoon. I would like to welcome you to what I call the idle man session. This is the part of the day that only few survive and still have some enthusiasm and energy. I would like to thank BCMG for the privilege of inviting me as one of the presenters. Our objective this afternoon is going to be to talk about a little bit about Puerto Rico, the real estate. How do we manage real estate in Puerto Rico, and also how the banking industry works in Puerto Rico. And finally, a very important topic is about the inheritance law and how you can organize a trust in Puerto Rico. Let me share with you an experience I had back on May 31st, 2017. I had a meeting with journalists from NPR News from New York. And after I picked him up at BDO, he shot me the first question. The first question was simple: how Puerto Rico compares to New York? And I said, whoa, that's a tough question. Even though I understood it was an unfair question, I decided to answer. The first answer that I gave him is that in Puerto Rico, one of the differences to New York is our people. We have the most friendly people that you can find in most of the places in the planet. People in Puerto Rico, the people in Puerto Rico are very friendly, and we do really enjoy helping others. The second is about the weather. In Puerto Rico, the weather is about 83 degrees average. With the wind chill factor, it could go down to 80 degrees, and any temperature below 75, we consider that an extreme cold weather. Then that's a major difference to New York. Another difference is that you can enjoy a different beach every day of the year. Any time of the year. And fourth, it was related to the tax incentive laws. And after that, he just laughed. And one thing that I told this person is that Puerto Rico is not perfect. It is. It's not. There's a lot of things that we would like to improve. There's some that may have an easy solution. There's some others, and there's some others, I don't see the solution at all. But in overall, it's a great place to live at. And that's one of the reasons why. Okay, these are some information that you might already know about Puerto Rico. And the first thing is that Puerto Rico is an island. It's only 100 by 35, even though we in Puerto Rico think sometimes that this is a continent. It's not. It's only an island, 100 by 35. But let me tell you, even the size of Puerto Rico, I have to say that Puerto Rico is about 3 times the size of the state of Rhode Island. And it's the same size of Delaware and Rhode Island combined. It's about the same size as Connecticut. Another thing is the population, 3.6 million, more or less, plus minus 100, depending on who do you ask to. If you put Puerto Rico as an state of the nation, of the U.S., Puerto Rico is going to make the 27th position in terms of the size of the population. Then this is a great place. It's even bigger than we sometimes think. Languages, official languages are Spanish and English, and there's an unofficial language which is Puerto Rican, the Spanglish. We just usually mix the Spanish with the English, and that's the Puerto Rican language, currency, US dollar. And interesting facts about Puerto Rico are unique factors of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has the only rainforest in the U.S. system, or the forest system in the United States. Also, we have one of the top 10 beaches in the world, which is in Culebra, is the Flamenco Beach. And also we have, for example, the largest telescope in existence in the planet. It's located in Arecibo. Then those are interesting factors about Puerto Rico. The reasons to move to Puerto Rico, I think that most of the speakers have covered all this. The last one is real estate. Real estate in Puerto Rico is very interesting for most of the people. One, because prices, when you compare it to places like Miami or New York or even San Francisco, are more attractive. And also you have, for example, on property taxes are really, really low in Puerto Rico compared to most of the states in the mainland. This is something very interesting. When I see that every case is very different to each other, but there are some similarities with all the clients that we work with. All the clients, after they do their due diligence, after visiting their attorneys, visiting their accountants, they find that this is true. Too good to be true? Yes, it's too good, and also it is true. But then it comes the moment that they have to make a decision if they're going to move to Puerto Rico, and that's a tough decision. It doesn't matter if you are making an investment in Miami, New York. Per se, it's a tough decision. Moving from your comfort zone to Puerto Rico is a very, very difficult decision for most of the people. Even for people like one of the speakers mentioned that he's the chief executive officer of his own life. Or if you have a family, it's even more complicated. But moving to Puerto Rico, managing real estate is pretty much the same as in any other place in the U.S. This graph definitely summarizes how the process works in Puerto Rico, what is the reality of the people moving down to Puerto Rico. In most of the occasion, people, when they move for residential needs, what they do, some they do short-term rentals. There's some others that do long-term rentals. And then there's some other that they just move ahead and go and buy a property as soon as they move to Puerto Rico. There are some different factors that they're going to consider, for example, and this is something that I will discuss in more details. When they come to Puerto Rico, they have to determine the location. They are going to consider factors such as school is an important factor, medical, healthcare. There are different factors that they have to consider, and they're enumerated here. Lifestyle is another factor very important. For client looking for commercial space, it's going to be the same. Some people, they want to have an office close to their home. There's some other people that are looking for certain specific amenities like restaurant close to the office, a fitness center. Then every client is going to have different needs and preferences. The preferred locations we have so far for most of the Act 2022 moving to Puerto Rico, mostly Act 22, are 4 markets. One is Condado. Condado is where we are now. And let me give you some information about Condado. Condado, the urbanization process of Condado started back in 1908. Actually, where we are now, this was the first home, vacation home, that the Vanderbilt family had in Puerto Rico. There was another family from the wealthy family moving from the mainland to Puerto Rico, but this was an iconic location in Condado. After that, back in the 1950s and 60s, that's where we started having the new hotels. The Caribe Hilton, we have La Concha, and that's when Condado started booming up in the real estate industry. Let me show you, and I'm going to show you some visuals of the different market. Bahia Beach, which is located on the east side of Puerto Rico, is about 30 minutes drive. Dorado Beach, driving to the west, 30 minutes drive, and then Palmas de Mar, which is driving to the south side of the island. Let me tell you about Condado. Condado is a unique location. There's not too many places in the world where you can have a lagoon, you can have the ocean, you can have hotels, a school, hospital, homes, apartments, and this what really makes Condado such a special place. If you take Condado from the east side to the west side, up to the end of the bridge, it's about 2 miles. That's about the size of Condado, okay? And let me give you an example of one of the residential development. This is probably the largest residential luxury residential development that we have in San Juan. This is what is called Paseo Caribe. It's close by. And Paseo Caribe is an interesting mix of residential and commercial. And here you're gonna find different type of apartments, small, big one, ocean view, lagoon view. Then in the case of Bahia Beach is one of the development purchased by John Paulson. This is located about 30 minutes away, and this is the home of the Hotel San Regis. Bahia is about 400 acres in terms of the size of Bahia, and this is the only resort with the Audubon certification in the Caribbean. There's only 22 developments in the world with the Audubon certification. What is the Audubon certification? This is an organization that certified those developments that preserve and promote the conservation of the ecosystems. Actually, they have what is my favorite golf course is located in Bahia. In Bahia, as part of getting the certification, the Audubon certification, they are not allowed to use chemicals when they treat the grass at the golf courses. They have to use organic components. And this is definitely a beautiful place. This is an example of the type of homes that you're going to find in Bahia. This is an oceanfront property. It's about 14,000 square feet home, and it's right on the water. In the case of Dorado Beach is located in Dorado. It's about 35 minutes away from San Juan. This was owned originally by the Livingstone family. They moved to Puerto Rico and they created a plantation. Back in the 50s, it was purchased by Lawrence Rockefeller, and this is when Lawrence Rockefeller started developing the hotel industry. The first ecotourism hotel in the Caribbean was established in Dorado. It is one of the favorite places for most of the 2022 acts who moved to Puerto Rico for one simple reason. It's a safe place, it's a beautiful place, well developed. It has all kinds of amenities, and it's not too far away from San Juan. They still can drive back and forth from San Juan. And there's another important thing about Dorado. They have a good school. They have taxis, which is a great advantage for those people who decide to move to Dorado. This is one of the villas, one of the apartment, the condos they have right beside the Ritz-Carlton Reserve. And as you can see, you're going to have the most amazing view. You can have the direct access to the water, to the beach, and this is for 365 days a year. And finally, the fourth market most of the Act 22 moved to is Palmas de Mar. Palmas de Mar is about an hour drive from San Juan, and it's located on the southeast side of the island. Palmas de Mar is the largest resort community in the Caribbean. There is about 3,400 units in total, and you're going to have a nice mix of condos, homes all over. This is one of the homes with a stunning view, ocean view. This is a property that was recently sold on December for more than $2 million, just to give you a perspective. This is about 6,700 square feet home. How the buying process for most of the people works, this is what we do as real estate specialists. We just determine the client needs and preferences. We perform a market analysis, do a searching and evaluating best available options, coordinating, showing. All this process is pretty much what you're going to find in New York, in Miami, and other places. This is part of some of the factors that we considered to determine the client needs and preferences, which is very important. Before we start showing any property to any client, we need to determine what they are looking for. Surprisingly, sometimes the client, they don't know exactly what they are looking for. Then it's important to determine their needs and their preferences. Doing a market analysis, this is a challenge that we face every time we have a client, because the client are asking for MLS, the multiple listing system. Unfortunately, the MLS in Puerto Rico is not completely accurate. Then what we need to do, we do have access to information that is used by the appraisers. Then we have to put the market together, do some analysis of what is available in the market, which is another challenge, because when you look for some different online sources, you're going to find that there's a repetition of the same property due to the fact that many owners do open listing, and also there's a lot of properties that are not available in the market, but still they're promoted. Then to do an absorption rate for our clients, we need to do a lot of homework before they make to help them to make an educated decision. Searching and evaluating the different options. Sure, we're going to take in consideration the needs, preferences, before start showing the different options. Coordinating the showing, this applied for the residential options and also for commercial. It's not only the property, it's not only the condo, it's not only the home. We're going to look also to the surroundings, how the surroundings are, how close are the hospital, how close are the schools. All that kind of factors are important at the time of showing a property. Developing a pricing strategy, that's going to be extremely important. Most of the people who move to Puerto Rico are wealthy people, and they make a lot of money because they're very conscious on how to manage their money. Then they want to get the best for the less. Then we assist them determining the pricing strategies, how we are going to present our offers to the different owners, and that is going to be part of the service that we provide. Also, we are going to be involved on presenting and negotiating the offer, and that's when we start interacting with the owners of the property. And there's a lot of factors that we need to take in consideration at the time of negotiating the price with the owners. Keep in mind that owners, they know what is going on in the market. And let me tell you, people ask me sometimes if they should go ahead and buy it or if they should rent. I can tell you, most of these markets, the 4 markets that I show you, they're going like this. In the case of Dorado, for example, they have reported sales on the 1,600 per square foot. In the case of Bahia, you have sales reported on the 1,300. In Condado, apartment going up to 672 per square foot. And in Palmas de Mar is more conservative, but still, the trend of the market is very positive. Then that is part of the things that everyone has to consider when they make a decision if they should rent or if they should go and buy. Managing the transaction, this is very important. All the buyers, they want to make sure that everything flows and goes adequately. And that's important that we as brokers, real estate broker, we need to follow up on everything, on getting all the information from the owners, getting all the information from the buyers. If the buyer is going through a financing process, making sure that the bank obtain all the information. And this is something that we do with every transaction, either if they're at a cash buy or if they're going through a bank. Once the client complete the purchase or the rent of a property, there's a lot of things to do. And one of the presenters was talking about the difficulties of getting a driver license. And the same is going to happen sometimes when the client needs to change the utility accounts. There's many things that you need to do once you move to your new home, either if you're renting or if you purchase. And I have to say that my experience has been great. There is a company, a local company. The name of the company is Puerto Rico Luxury Concierge. And this is the company that I strongly recommend to everyone who moves to Puerto Rico to use their services. This is the company that will assist you in getting your license, on getting your utility account. You just mentioned, the person is back there. There is a brochure. Strongly recommend you to get a copy of the Puerto Rico Luxury Concierge brochure and see what the service they provide. I don't want to end my presentation without thanking you all for believing in Puerto Rico. This is exactly what we need. I've been interviewed by different journalists, by different media, and they always ask about the same question, what is the impact, the economic impact of you guys moving to Puerto Rico? How many employments are you creating? And guess what? I understand that will come eventually, and it's happening. For me, the most important contribution that the Act 2022, the 73 to 73, I'm making for Puerto Rico, you're changing our mentality. You're making us, a Puerto Rican society, to see the big picture. And that's extremely important because we're creating a new Puerto Rico. For that reason, I thank you all. Then I will pass the presentation now to Victor Victor is part of the mortgage department, First Bank, and he's going to go through all the process on financing with the bank. Please.